Morning, Internet people. How are we doing this morning? You're John C. It's 5:44 in the morning, and it's September 24th, 2020. Waking up this morning, it's no mean feat these days. When I'm waking up to political unrest happening these days, it should also be no mean feat, and when it turns out to be quite normal, that's when it's supposed to be abnormal. Things happening these days are testing us to the point where we have no idea what the hell is going on anymore. Case in point, everyone's got their own opinions concerning about their political parties, their attitudes about certain situations, misconceptions being promoted left and right, not to mention misinformation being promoted left and right. And people are just pissed off about it in the first place. I'm still monitoring CNN right now. And concerning about the aftermath of what happened yesterday, all these kind of revelations happening these days, our whole federal government is going hell in a handbasket. Well, since when is that new? For me, it's irritating as hell as when I have a president that's going to be overriding the FDA's concerns concerning vaccinations. Now, when we're dealing with standard vaccinations, and I'm no damn doctor of any sort, I'm no medical expert, I listen to experts. And apparently some of these experts who are politically motivated are going against people who are not politically motivated, or trying to save mankind, while the rest of them are trying to save their political assets, or their asses anyway. And the argument is whether or not if there's enough time for vaccinations to show disastrous results in order to help people afflicted with COVID, or even giving them immunity to COVID. And the problem is, the government wants this stepped up like crazy. They want a political win, so they can win at the poll office, at the ballot box, and make sure that they're staying in power. They want to say that they've done something. They're tired of losing and tired of hearing people complaining about their own life being torn apart left and right. And I hate to say it, but we are being torn apart left and right because we've been created that way, unfortunately. I'll say it again, we've been created that way. We have been tearing each other apart left and right ever since we had political parties going after each other's throats, and I've never seen a more cutthroat administration and a more cutthroat time since 2016 election, all the way through current right now. We have an administration that wants to hold on to power so damn badly, it's not even funny. People are trying to put out tell-all books concerning about what's going on, and it's pissing people off left and right. We've got other people giving their opinions of what they think should happen, it should not happen, and tell-all books coming out telling us how bad the administration was, and being put down, being sequestered, being suppressed. Freedom of speech, First Amendment rights being suppressed by the federal government. That's unheard of. That's unprecedented. That's illegal as hell. But it's being done. But the books are still coming out. White House is trying to put a ban on some of those books. Even trying to ban their own relatives who are speaking out against an administration. People who have worked for the administration are trying to tell people what's actually going on, and they can't. Because now it's considered fake news. The ultimate insult they keep saying is fake news. Everything's fake because we don't believe it. Well, keep sticking your head down in the sand, boys and girls, because it's happening at this point over here. Not to mention, we're dealing with a president that wants to hold on to power like crazy. He's willing to manipulate a state, or a few other states, in order to hold on to that damn power by cheating. Bad enough we had the 2000 elections that didn't have Al Gore in office because of hanging chads, a mechanical problem. But it got all the way into the Supreme Court and thrown back that the hanging chads were considered invalid, and every ballot had to be recounted all over again. We didn't know who the hell the president was until about 1 or 2 weeks later. Check that up in Google on that one. So now we've got a president trying to do anything and everything he can to hold on to his power. Not helping out the American people because he thinks this is going to be helping out him, or try to help out the American people as best as he can. Well, no, this is helping him out at the same time. We got COVID-19 kicking our asses left and right, and he's pissed off at people for taking advantage over it. He's got Trump supporters, his own Republican Party, for bad-mouthing every piece of data and every specialist we've got out there, trying to tell us what they need and what needs to be done. And they don't want that to happen because they want things back the way they want. Some of them actually want conservatorship back all the way to where it was. They keep blaming the Democrats because Democrats were showing what they were back in the ages when the American colonies were started. These people are so damn stupid, they keep forgetting their own damn history at this point over here. I mean, history, a little bit of a history buff. I've been trying to be that way ever since I was growing up. My brother, before he passed away, was a better history buff than I was. I was living through history. I was watching history unfold. And going to college right now as an adult, trying to understand and keep up to speed what's going on, and also learning other things happening these days, it's crazy. Democrats, back in the ages of the colonies, when we started out, were plantation owners. They wanted separation of church and state. Actually, they wanted God in everything. They wanted plantations. They wanted slaves. And they fought tooth and nail in the Civil War. These are Southern Democrats. They wanted Confederacy. Somehow the parties had changed their alignments and their viewpoints at the turn of the 19th century. Actually, in the turn of the 20th century, actually. When the Democrats finally got off their dead asses, when the Southern Democrats were no longer there, and now you've got these new Democrats, they're saying, no, we want social change. We want things better for people. We don't want things the way they were. We don't want a separation of church. We do need a separation of church and state. We do need a federal government. We don't want states to be part of a union, not separated. We want Social Security. We want Medicare. We want a safety net for these people. We need to have jobs for these people. And Republicans are like, no, we want conservative. We want the way things were. Somehow they changed their alignments. So now the Republicans are the conservatives and the Democrats are more liberal. And they're fighting for it still. But we're not looking for socialism because people keep forgetting what socialism was. It was created by Karl Marx. Research that one on Google. Research that one in the history books. Karl Marx wanted a social world. He was a communist. He wanted a world where the workers could share in everything. But the problem is he wanted a central party. A central party ruling everything. Central elite controlling everything. Socialism. Communism, same situation. China is a living embodiment of it. Controlled by a central government, who elitism is still there. We were supposed to be a republic, a democratic republic. We were supposed to have votes to control our own destiny. We were supposed to be voting in leaders to help lead the country, to help guide the country. And that didn't happen, did it? We got Donald Trump in office. Now you got Trumpers all over the damn place. They want a regime change, and they're not even realizing it. They call it America, without the capital A. They want their freedoms, but it's going to be for the elitism, not for us. Not for us schleps. We have the divisions, we have the derisions going on right now. And we're not even bothering to understand that, do we? No, because we're so in love with Donald Trump and his bullshit. We can't even trust the media anymore because we think they're fake news because Donald Trump tells us so. And not to mention the conservative groups out there. I'm hoping pissing you guys off left and right. Because if I'm not doing my job. Conservatives and the liberals used to compromise on some things in order to get the country working. They had to do a give and take. They had to go have a meeting of minds. They understand the viewpoints were diametrically opposed. That's how the thing was working in the first place. That's democracy for you. But it was supposed to be the minority having their say in order to persuade the majority that maybe they had a valid point. And maybe there was compromise. But yeah, it was supposed to be the will of the people. The majority rules. We have electoral college, unfortunately. That was created when we actually had the 13 colonies going at this point. Some of the colonies actually had a shorter geographic area, but the greatest density population. And therefore they had the greatest vote because of their density population. They could have the largest span of real estate and very few people in it. Very few people. And have very little votes or say. But the greater and smaller ones had the better density populations. They had the better say. We've continued that tradition all the way. And a lot of people these days, or in the past 30, 40 years, kept screaming out, we need to change the damn electoral college system. Check that one out in Google. Research it all on Google. Or better yet, go into a damn library and check out a book. An actual physical thing with pages and words printed on it. And my God, they may be in a language you're not familiar with. It's called English. Means you have to study English to read it, to understand it, maybe to comprehend it. Oh my God, are you capable of that? Are you actually able to comprehend what's going on around you? Or are you still having your head still stuck in the damn sand? Yeah, I'm talking to all you folks out there. Because I don't see any uprisings over this shit. Oh no, cops get killed left and right. You go ape shit over that. Black people get uprising. Especially when black people get killed. Mexicans, well, fuck them. That's your attitude. Kids get killed, fuck them. What the hell do they care? We had school shootings over the past 30 or 40 years going on. Google that one. Do we see any uprisings enough on that one? Hell no. We scream for more school security. We scream for more security at this point over here. Now we're losing that left and right. We have to defund cops because now the cops are theoretically our friends, are now the enemy. And some of them are treating us the enemy because they feel like they are the enemy. They look at the blacks, they look at the Latinos, and they think they're open season. And we do have rotten cops. We have a lot of good cops, and we still have rotten apples in the barrel. So now people want to toss out every barrel they got. Because one rotten apple spoils everything. We can't get rid of it fast enough. We have to have lawsuits. We have to have riots in the street. We have to have lootings and shootings and God knows what else now. Now cops are open season. Cops are open season. Even for some of the good ones that haven't even done anything, they're going to get shot and killed. Why? Because they're cops. They're wearing a badge. They're trying to do their job. They're trying to come home safe at night, and they can't do that. They can't follow the laws because now the laws are considered unjust. Well, don't these people understand they have to change the damn politicians, change the damn laws? The power is in the people's hands. But they think writing's going to do it? You got to be fucking kidding me. Get your damn politicians out, put in new politicians, get the laws changed. Hello? American system, American way. Oh, I'm sorry. You guys can't think of that one, can you? No, you're too full. You two guys are so full of shit with Trump and his bullshit. You can't even see what the hell's going on anymore. It has to be in the world of Trump. Everything's fake news. Coronavirus is killing your family, but hell, that's fake news right now in first place. There's such a thing called herd immunity. You even try associating that with smallpox. Give me a break. We don't have herd immunity with smallpox just yet. We still got it out there, and even herd immunity is not protecting us. Look what happened to Disneyland the past several years. When it was still open, before COVID hit, we had a smallpox invasion happening in that place. And how many people was it killing left and right before we actually put a stop to the damn thing? Yes, we did have immunizations for smallpox to keep the damn thing out. But we had to have that for God knows how many decades before we actually had the herd immunity going on. I don't even know what a damn eye doctor does. So while watching CNN, and a lot of people don't like CNN because it's so fake and liberal news at this point over here, and I really don't give a flying fuck. Yeah, you heard me say it. You heard me say it. Flying fuck. Deal with it. Trump wants to remain in office any way, shape, or form. Discounted ballot system, basically. Mail-in ballots, actually. We have COVID-19 at this point affecting everything in our lifestyles, including the voting. And the mail-in ballots are the safest thing for people to feel like they can do and not feel like they're going to be contaminating anybody. But those ballots being sent out are considered invalid according to Trump because they should be voting in person. Well, if they're going to be voting in person, they're going to have some guidelines on how to do that in person. And the problem is each state is different. The federal government, including the Constitution of the United States, does not tell you how to vote. It tells you you have the right to vote. It is up to the individual states to devise the method in order for people to vote safely at this point regarding the COVID. But prior to that, it's either mail-in or in person. Those are the only two options. And the federal government really doesn't have a say over the damn thing. However, Trump wants that say. He needs that say to stay in power. And he's going to do everything and anything he can to retain that power. Somebody actually once said that he's doing a Richard Nixon. And quite frankly, he is doing a Richard Nixon. Nixon loved the power. He loved the authority. He loved the notion of being God in office. That nothing he does is illegal. Look what happened in Watergate scandals. His own party, his own inner staff betrayed his ass. He was loyal. And he resigned. However, it was the next administrator, his vice president, actually forgave him. But he still held a little bit of contempt in history for being someone who manipulated the system like crazy. Donald Trump's doing even worse than that. Because of all this political division and derision at this point over here, because of all this hatred that we have towards law enforcement at this point over here, we've had that for God knows how long. A lot longer than what we've had this political season. 2 Kentucky officers shot, not dead, but shot and recovering because of a system that said the officers were not responsible. Do I blame Trump for that? Too damn easy on that situation. But he already exposed a hell of a lot of nerves, and it was still out there anyway, regardless. Because even before Trump got in office, we still had shootings. We had the Rodney King riots back in '94. We had the riots back in the early '60s. We had riots all over the damn place. We had civil unrest and civil distrust. People want things back the way they were. Well, they still are there. People think they still don't have civil rights. Well, guess what? We don't. We say we do, but we're not demonstrating enough of it. We're not protesting. The thing is, we're burning things down left and right and proving a point to people that they have to be more authoritative and more direct action against us. seems to me either we're falling more and more behind, or we deserve to climb up out of the damn gutter. If we're going to be doing that, then we need to get our asses and vote. And I'm not saying I'm not saying about Biden. If you've got a candidate a hell of a lot better than Biden or Trump, keep this in mind. No matter who you vote for, is going to bleed out votes for either from Trump or from Biden or from both. And eventually may put Trump back in office again. If you had a third-party candidate you're going to be trying to vote for at this point, you're going to be bleeding out votes and putting Trump back in office, because that's how it works politically. I had a history professor confuse the living crap out of me for that one. And they were trying to analyze the 2016 elections. I was taking Political Science 101, and we had other candidates trying to get in office. Any votes being taken away from one particular favorite candidate was going to be favoring the other opponent, because the votes needed to keep that favorite candidate going into office. We should have had Hillary Clinton in office. We had the popular vote for her. But the problem is we also had the Electoral College happening. And with the Electoral College, there is no guarantee that your vote is going to count, because those electors in the Electoral College can sway their vote. They can be swayed in their vote. They can vote for the other schmuck that you didn't vote for. That's why people are still saying that they want the popular vote instead of the Electoral College, because the Electoral College is still based on population density. The more denser a state is in population, the more electors they're going to get. And no guarantee you're going to get your right guy coming in the office. But with a popular vote, it's one person, one vote. That's it. That's it. And maybe we do need that. People have expressed opinions concerning about which party's the better party. If you're conservative thinking, you're a Trumper. You are equated as a Trumper at this point over here. If you're liberal-minded, you're a libtard. You're a Biden supporter. Curls or skin? This is the electoral system we've got right now. This is what's happening now. This is what's happening now. If the folks want a different candidate in other than Trump, they better make sure that they vote for the right person. Once Trump gets in office, we can't get rid of the son of a bitch. He'll make sure that he'll put an amendment for a president for life. For life. World War II. FDR did about 3 tours. While the Depression was going on in World War II, he had to make sure that there was going to be an amendment process put in there to limit the terms for the presidency to 2 terms. That's 8 years. Prior to that, we didn't have any term limits. People wanted President Washington for life, and he only wanted at least 2 terms. Google that one. Just enough to get the country running, just enough to get the country started, and then he wanted to retire. He was a popular president. He was the first president. He was our commanding general in the Revolutionary War. History Channel did a complete biography, as complete as they could. Good biopic on him. But it was necessary. It was necessary. I don't know what's going to happen for the rest of the time here. But it's up to each one of us to decide who's going to be the better candidate at this point. Who's really looking out for the country, and who gives a shit about himself or herself. If you really are an American, not American, I'm not going to tell you what's going on. You already know. You're not going to say to yourself that you are a libtard. You're not going to say that you're liberal. You're going to say, I'm a citizen of the United States of America. You don't like it, go fuck yourselves. There's the door. That's what you're telling me to everyone else these days. But I'll tell you something. At least our system allows the debate to go on. We have the freedom so far to debate our ideas and our idealism. We have the freedom to say whatever we want against the government without government reprisal so far. We're supposed to have due process according to the Constitution so far. Theoretically. We're supposed to have the right to vote our leaders in. So far. And that's up to you. You're going to allow this to happen? Or are you going to allow it to be Venezuela, North Korea, Russia, China? You want out of a regime? You want to be like North Korea? You want to be Putin's bitch? You want to have an economy torn apart like Venezuela has? Ask yourself those questions. You can talk to me about it. You can yell and scream out in the neighborhood. You still have that right. Or do you?